Okay, I will call the meeting to order at 7:03. We'll do roll call. So myself, Kim Feige, is here. We'll do Pam Summers. Here. Tim Rhodes. Not here. Keith Lipker. Not here. Judy Austin.
Here.
Paul Varga is not here. Rob Chernick.
Here.
And Bill Becker. Bill.
Yes, here.
You
see me. He's here.
I saw you, but you're the record. Okay.
Mine is up to
Okay, so I am going to see Rob Chernick for Keith Lipker and Bill Becker for Paul Varga. Okay. So then next step is going to be communications. So I wanted to do a few things. There was talk this past week about the additional funding that is going to be added on to the town budgets from the state. So it looks as though we are going to get an additional $40,702. So there was also emails going back and forth with the state and the specific wording of when the towns can adopt this, whether if the towns that have gone through the budget process already can adjust their mill rates accordingly, even though they went into referendum. So the last communications that we got was, I'll just read the email that we got from the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities. It says, I'm pleased to report that yesterday evening, the Senate adopted language that addressed municipal concerns and provided clarity to the questions CCM and local officials had been expressing about the said additional funds. So once language was worked out, the Senate took bipartisan action and the House quickly followed. CCM provided further details and guidance. So it looks that we are able to use this money to then adjust our mill rate, even though we've already went through the budget process.
Well, and the reason is we haven't finished because tonight finishes the budget.
Okay.
Because we set the mill rate, Board of Finance.
So that was cut off. It wasn't necessarily the vote. Okay.
And it's $163,220. There's two amounts.
That's correct.
We can talk about that when we get to the budget, but we'll at least recognize that letter, the additional funding, and then we can talk about that when we get to the budget of specifically how much and adjusting it. So then the other communication I just wanted to say was in Paul's absence, he did send me an email, and he just wanted to say thanks to the board members on behalf of the fire department for all the work they did during the budget cycle. This was a very important step to ensuring the department and the town move forward safely. So a few minutes there. Besides that, I just want to say, if you haven't heard it passed. So budgets are all passed, and we are now on our final steps. So with that concludes communications. So next is going to be approve the minutes. So it's the regular meeting from April 30th. Can I get a motion for that?
I motion to move the minutes April 30th, 2026. Judy.
Okay, and a second.
I'll second it. Rob?
Okay. Any edits or discussion? So the only thing that I had on it was that there was a typo, in the agenda to where it said the suspense list was from 2024. So, or no, yeah, 2024, and it should have been for the year 25.
Yep.
So that would be the only thing, so just update the date year, and that was my bad, when I did the agenda, so. With the edits, can we get a vote on approving the minutes? All in favor?
I,
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? So 4, we're good. We're good. Okay, so next is public comment. Anybody on Zoom? No? Okay, so then, next will be new business, so discussion of the budget referendum results. So I'll just go through and provide, I guess, the tally if you want to add it in. Okay, so it was, they all passed. So for the I apologize. For the town budget, it was 325 yes, 256 no. For the fire department, it was 328 yes, 250 no. For capital improvements, it's 350 yes, 228 no. Region 19, it's 315 yes, 265 no. And the Ashford Board of Ed is 314 yes and 265 no. So with that, they all pass. So we can start discussing the additional funding if you would like. Maybe I misinterpreted the amounts that they were projecting for the additional.
I sent you a link to the site. The Connecticut site that announced it. And that is, I think I said, let me see, it's written down. I don't know the two, but the total is $163,220.
So my thought, here, trying to get, like, Zoom. I'm gonna share my screen.
I also saw that.
Okay, I'm just sharing my screen just so that way, there we go. So this is, Ned Lamont, the Connecticut, website.
And as a note, it says, one of the paragraphs, I can't see that far, that it is to be used to lower the number.
Yes, well, that was the controversy with the emails going back and forth, because
Yeah.
he was saying that it was able to, but then apparently the Senate was saying that the specific language in the bill, or whatever it was, in the budget, it didn't say that you could, but I guess now they've straightened it out and it can be used, I guess, so.
And we could have, just because we haven't finished yet.
The other thing is this document you're showing is from 5/3. They had something yesterday about the 163.
Did the amount go up or change?
I saw the 163.
Yeah, 163,220, correct?
Yep, correct.
Yeah, so that's what they have here, 163, 212.
Yep.
Okay. So my thought is that this is total of what we're getting of an increase from last year. So in the budget, if you look at the revenue section, which, I'd have to dig through it to throw it online. But if you look in the revenue section, we already budgeted revenues of
$3,771,000 round numbers. That would correspond, if you look at the mill rate calculation page at the end, that's the easiest place, maybe.
So it's gonna be in the revenue section. Right, so for the general government in the revenues for the state, we have the ECS, which is what the supplemental education aid. So this 138, so we already have $110,508 as an increase. So what I took is that instead of the 110 that we were budgeting for, we are now gonna get 138. So it's only gonna be whatever the difference is,
Wait, this is,
$20,000.
This is additional.
I don't think it's additional. Well, the additional is the additional $20,000 that you're gonna get.
Wait, I'm really confused, because I thought they said in the newspaper, they were gonna grab an additional $170 million and divide it up in pounds. So this is additional money, and I think at the beginning of the release at the very top of what that communication is, that I can't see that part. I can't read it for you.
Look at the third paragraph.
Yeah, this is additional. And that was the whole intent of the 170,000. Because everybody's facing property tax prices.
So, yeah. Okay. So maybe I wrote it wrong.
That's when we have a whole board.
Okay. At least the document containing a top breakdown of the increase in state that every school district will receive.
Increase.
Well, so my thought was, it's an increase from last year.
No, it doesn't even matter where, they could have given us 0. They're giving us 163,000 extra.
Still seems so confusing.
Well, it's not, there's 170 million divided by
Yeah.
169, which would be $1 million, but then you divide by population. Like I had estimated, we'd get around 200 grand by population, but there's communities poorer than Ashford. I mean, Ashford isn't overly rich. So that it's reasonable, the amount they got, that we got out of the 170 million, but it is definitely an increase.
Because, well, this kind of correlates though, so like so going to like the supplemental town aid, so this 24,000, right? So,
It doesn't matter how you label it, it's still money in.
so I know, but so Senator Gordon, the Senator Gordon letter. Let's see, with the monkey thing. Because that's what that is, right? What the supplemental town aid.
This is why we need to understand fund balances, because the bottom line, all the money goes in the same bucket, and it's just divided up. The accounting.
See, the thing is, it's the Ashford education aid and town aid is the. I think.
Well, if you look at the mill rate calculation page, okay, we have 3,771,000 as state revenue. And all you have to do is add the 163 to that on. That'll generate my estimate to change the mill rate from 28 point, whatever it is, to 27.8. With the 163.
Cause I wanna see, so if this is on top of what we're supposed to be getting, I wanna see then what's the original increase?
It doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, it does.
No, because all you have to do is add 163.
Well, that's why, I mean, that's my thought, to where it's like, it literally says state funding increase for schools. So you would think that that is your increase from last year, right? So that's,
No, it's the
somehow
addition.
we got, yeah, but then I guess it's like, where did we get the 110,000 for the revenue budget?
That's what they were gonna give us before this. If they hadn't done the 170 million, that's what we would have got. They had added 170 million for the entire state, and our share is 163.
I don't know, I just feel like that's a big difference.
Yeah, because it doesn't say additional.
It doesn't say additional, that's
It
why
just
I
says
thought,
increase.
No, but the whole legislative intent, and all of the newspaper articles, it's an increase.
Yeah, I understand both sides of what.
No,
You're
but
all
there's mathematically, I mean, the
Let me read
170 million,
I don't wanna screw up.
yeah, and, I mean, population wise, I think we're 3.6 million, population wise. So if you divide by population, it would have been around 200 grand. But it's more than population, you know, so to me, this is a reasonable number out of the 170 million. I mean, there's, like, Will Manick is probably more stress than Ashford, for example, so they may get a higher per capita.
Like, for example, I find it really hard to believe that Hartford is getting a $33 million increase based on last year they had $20 million. So that kind of follows their 13. I'm just saying, like, looking at the large numbers, it doesn't make sense. I think this is last year with more buffer and stuff that they did with us, like you're saying too. Just looking at other towns' minutes and last year's supplemental education aid numbers.
I mean, that's understandable to think that, but then why, in the presses and the discussion, the public discussion of this, it's 170 million for the whole state extra. So when they divide it up, okay, our share is 163, that's extra. I mean, we're already, and it's, and why Hartford is getting what you're saying, I can't explain that.
Yeah, because it says additional there.
It says addition,
Yeah.
so that's what it is. And that was the intent. That was Steve Gordon's communication intent. It was what was in Hartford Current intent. And it's what the website that promulgated the numbers said. It's additional funding. It's not like changing what you were gonna get to that number. It's addition.
I wonder if I texted Susan Weissowitz if she'd answer.
No, not the time.
It'd be nice though.
And she might not even know.
Yeah,
I mean, you would think she would.
yeah, I would hope.
I mean, the whole idea-
Went into it, okay.
The whole idea of them doing this was to help people.
That's just a lot, I mean, that's more than double what it was.
Yeah.
I guess I was expecting it to be that much of this.
Well, they haven't
You know,
changed their formula. So a huge amount of this discussion.
clearly, Okay, I just wanna make sure, so everybody is in agreement that this is additional to what is already in our budget. So that we are now looking at an additional 163, 220.
That'd be nice.
That was my.
Well, I just wanna make sure.
I
I wanna make sure that we are all in agreement here that this is what we're gonna look at going forward. Judy, do you agree?
I'm just,
Or we're
I'm
still-
reading,
okay.
I'm reading the article. It says for cities and towns that haven't adopted a budget yet, it's uncomplicated. They must comply, as they do every year, with the state's minimum budget requirement. The MBR generally requires communities to budget at least the same amount for education as they did the prior fiscal year. Any state funds not needed to meet the burden can be used to reduce demands on local property taxpayers, excuse me. For those municipalities that have adopted a budget, it's trickier. They also can reopen the budget and cut the tax rate according to the measure adopted late Wednesday, but they cannot reduce education spending below the level already approved for the next budget cycle or below this year's level plus the new education aid. That means communities that already have adopted a budget that assumes a big jump in state education aid can't reverse themselves, cancel that spending hike, and substitute a tax cut in its place.
Which we're not even contemplating.
Right.
Because-
Right. So I'm just reading the article of what it says.
Well, what's really important is once the budgets pass, their expense budgets, we're not authorized to reduce or expand any of the budgets that's already passed.
Mhm.
We as Board of Finance can deal with the revenue side, because that's part of setting the over. So we can add the 163
Yeah.
to the revenue with no issue.
Let's take it.
You want a formal motion for that?
I think that we should dive deeper in this for clarification.
There's nothing to dive into.
I mean,
Well, there is if you make a mistake, right? That's it. That
Well, we have to wrap up tonight because the budget's passed. So we have to, unless there's any, I mean, everybody seems to be in agreement that the 163, 220 is a legitimate number that we could add to the revenue. So.
well, I agree with that number, but I question the usage.
Well, you want people to pay a higher tax? We can lower the tax by the 163? I don't.
Oh, absolutely not. And that is a stupid question to me.
well, how would you question the usage though?
It just.
I just don't want to find out that we're adding additional funds with a misinterpretation. Like,
It doesn't change the Board of Education budget at all. It just changes the town revenue.
It changes how much we tax people.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, I mean, on this site, so this is the Republicans, the state of Connecticut Republican Senate site, and so it has Senator Gordon introduced support proposals, significant increases in the foundation amount. So under the budget, towns in the district will receive the following ECS funding increases. So 138 through 62. 138 through 62.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
typically state that we're getting an increase
Yeah.
in
Can you
S.
go down a little bit? This increase will provide important support to ease on property taxes. Push into the fair, the transfer
Does sound like an increase.
communities.
Above, yes, yeah.
Okay.
I'm so cautious when I read this stuff.
It's not this path.
Well, that's something I did.
Okay, I think, so do we want to do a motion or do we want to go through it all?
Why
And
don't
then,
we do a motion for that, and then I want to make another motion, so maybe we could, let's just put that.
okay. What's our motion? Or you, if you have a motion, Bill, you can go ahead and say it
Okay.
if you want.
I would
Let's
like-
start with this kind of increase first
Yeah.
before you go.
That's all, I'm gonna, it'd be a limited motion.
Okay.
For the convenience of the board. I motion that the government will want extra funding of $163,220 be added to the non-property tax revenue section of the budget.
I'll second.
And that's for the full amount, 160. Okay, and seconded. Let's take a vote, all in agreement?
Aye.
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 Okay, any opposed? All right, motion passed. Let's do it.
I would, for another motion.
Well, let's focus on one thing at a time. Is this with
Okay,
that?
you're in charge.
Is this with the, is that with this or?
Yes.
All right. Go ahead.
I'd like to move that we use 360,000 from the undesignated fund balance as non-property tax revenue.
But what was that?
$360,000 from the undesignated fund balance.
Is there a second?
Is there a second?
So we can water on it.
Where did that come from?
From me.
Oh, that's your personal,
No, it's my official. I'm an alternate on the Board of Finance. It's my official motion.
no, I'm saying, did we talk about this before?
Yeah, we did at 2 or 3 meetings.
Hang on.
And the motion, just for, so everybody knows, was defeated 5-1. This is the second.
Okay,
time.
we're still gonna talk about it. All right.
We need a second.
Can we get a second so that way we can discuss?
This one was defeated the last time you said?
Right, and there was some misinformation.
Yeah, so I
Right.
think that I think the defeatedness, so if we choose to take that large sum, right?
So we need a second
Well, yeah.
to discuss it. If we don't have a second,
then
we're
what?
not allowed under Robert rules to discuss it.
Well, I'll second it if it's for discussion, then we vote on it.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, a second does not mean you're voting yes.
Right, I think it should be discussed, like it was last. Second,
All right, Judy, I'm just gonna say, let's have Bill just present, if he says that there's additional information, let's just hear him out and then we can, since he made.
Absolutely, that's fine.
Okay, in the budget, document itself, there's a section that addresses the fund balance. And let me see if I can find it, I have it right here. Fund balance, and it says the undesignated fund balance should be approximately 10 to 15% of the general fund operating budget. And in the meeting where I did present this, the first selectman gave us a very handy spreadsheet. Okay, where it showed that using the 360,000 would leave us undesignated fund balance of $1,737,000, and that she indicated was 9.96% of the undesignated fund balance. Now, 9.96% is 10% to me. So we are using the 360. We are definitely within the advisory guidelines. Remember, these are advisory guidelines, not mandatory. So within the advisory guidelines for sure. And one of the concepts that was very importantly discussed in the past regarding the fire department budget was phasing it in, the increases they want. Well, this is sort of the reverse. By using the undesignated fund balance, it's sort of phasing in the mill rate shock for the taxpayers. This year, the tax increase for everybody varies. It's a high of almost 13% to a low of maybe 9%, as is. The 360 with the 163 would give us a mill rate, and I would want Kayla to verify this, her calculation. I came up with the mill rate using the 163 and the 360 of the 27.1 mill rate increase. That alternative would mean, okay, I got to unclick. Okay, that would mean for the average taxpayer a 7.1% tax increase. For the lower income taxpayer, 9.5%, and for the upper assessments, a 4.6%. The 360 makes a difference because the average pay without using 360 is almost a 9.8% tax increase. Using the 360 is about a 7% tax increase. And I think because of revaluation, I think the majority of the townspeople had absolutely no idea how much taxes were genuinely going to increase. So the 360, I think, is a very, very helpful thing to do, especially for the lower income people in town. 40% of Ashford is considered financially distressed. 10% are below the poverty line. 40% financially distressed. And I think because the use of the 360, we still are within the advisory guideline of 10%. I think it's justified to use the 360 to lower the bill rate a little bit more.
Now, does that take into account the 500,000 we already moved, the balance that you said would be left?
Yes, because the spreadsheet that, let me go back to that one.
So can I comment now?
answering Pam's question. Yeah, she had transfer in 26 of 300,000 and a transfer out of 500,000. The undesignated fund balance basically started out at $2.9 million. And with the CNR transfers out and the 360 comes down to 1.7 million. What's really important to recognize is no matter how you define the flows of the money coming in and coming out, the undesignated fund balance really comes from the mill rate. It really comes from the mill rate. And so to use the undesignated fund balance when it's above 10%, it'll lower the mill rate. Is to me financially acceptable. It needs to be acceptable to 3 more members of the board of finance.
And what did you say, it
Well-
will be left at 1 point?
Yeah, 1.7 billion.
Okay.
And that is 10%,
Mhm.
approximately 10% of operating
Okay, Judy.
by the spreadsheet that was given to us. It's not dated.
Do you have comments?
Okay, so the reason I said nay on this the first time you tried it was because you cannot take that money out without making cuts. Prior to the vote, we should have done that because next year, what's going to happen is you're still going to have this big hole that's unfunded that you took away from the money that was in excess, and you're hoping to get this money next year. So why I had suggested to go have everybody do a little cut, from the school and the town and a little bit from this fund to make up that amount was because it wouldn't hurt so bad next year. But if you do this, this is going to be a disaster next year because you're saying that you're taking money that was in excess this year that we didn't know we were going to have, right? Because we don't know until after we tax. And you're using that, to help people out, which I'm all for. Absolutely. I've been fighting that. I think this budget is ridiculous, but you can't do with what we have currently because we didn't do any cuts. We can't, we're stuck. We can't do that amount. That's very dangerous for next year. That's all I'm saying. And for me, I'm definitely a no on that. I mean, had we said we were going to do cuts and then some of that money, that would have been logical because we don't know how much in excess we're going to have this year, but it wouldn't have been so devastating. But you're taking a large amount and you're gambling it that you're going to get this next year when quite frankly this budget people cannot afford this. I cannot even believe it passed. And I've been saying that all along, but now I don't want to make it any worse. I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Actually, mathematically, there's no, it's because this came from the mill rate, it's, I don't like to say it was taxed in advance because you always have expense and revenue variances. And when you do a budget, it's better to do it in a way that instead of risking a surplus or a deficit, you risk a surplus or hardly any surplus. That's just fiscal responsibility. You wouldn't want to do a budget that risked a deficit. So the historically, obviously, the Board of Finance has presented budgets that didn't risk the deficit, or we wouldn't have a buildup in the undesignated fund balance. And it doesn't make a whole. Next year, everybody's tax increase will be identical. There's no reval. And this just smooths it. Okay, it doesn't change the amount of money that's going to be needed next year. It doesn't change the amount of money we're spending this year. It's just a relief. It smooths it out for the taxpayer. And it is the undesignated fund balance. No matter how you define it, no matter how you work the flows of the money, it comes from the mill rate. And there's people who know this. There was a fellow who did a web broadcast on one of the sites, Farmall Kent. His conversancy in fund balances is better than mine. He was very clear about this mill rate linkage. The only reason his spiel was way too long and a little bit too much. I walked 10 miles in the snowstorm to go to school. Nobody wants to hear that. But there are a lot of people in town that definitely understand what's going on. Okay. And for us to have an opportunity to give a relief to taxpayers this year, I think is my opinion. I think we should do it. It's up to your no vote, and that's okay, Judy, because that's what you think. It's up to everybody else on the board.
But my point is why didn't you do this before the vote? Because if you had done it before the vote,
Judy, I made a motion before the vote,
At the public
and it
hearing.
was defeated, and so that's why it's not there. It's that simple, and it's okay that it was defeated, because it was surprised at the last minute, and there was obviously a misunderstanding.
Well, what's
but we knew we had the funding.
in this motion, so if we,
Yeah, none.
because if it was already defeated and there's no update or change to it, then why are we even trying to do it if we already said no?
Because it's a second opportunity.
But
Okay.
we knew we had that excessive money from last year, and it was spoken about several times, and nobody budged on that. You know, you can't.
Yeah, okay, let's hear from someone else. Pam, what are your thoughts?
Oh, I
Yay,
gave my
nay,
thoughts
definitely.
already.
Okay. Yay, okay. Well, we'll vote after. Okay. Rob, do you have anything you want to add?
I'm just trying to follow along. This is
Okay.
all new to me.
So my first thoughts, just recollecting of when we went over this, was that yes, it's 9.9% is what is going to be left in the account, but even though you're saying it's suggested guidance, this percentage also affects all of the funding, the bonds, all of that, and all of that. So for me, particularly, if they're saying 10 to 15% is ideal, you're already below 10. Even though it's, the fourth of or 400ths of a decimal, it's like you're still below 10%. So I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that. And then just looking too at our capital improvement plan for next year it's going to be $325,000 more than this year. So there's that money, that 360, we're going to use it next year. So that, so I don't particularly feel comfortable with using that amount of money. And I feel at least we have this additional increase of 163 that we can go through to see the impact of helping the taxpayers.
I think what you're saying that different things affect the bond rating and the interest rates. And I think the impact on the interest rates and the bonding is insignificant compared to the immediate impact of the taxpayers. And that's why I would discount that.
Well, my thought
no
is
numbers.
we already went to referendum. Whoever came out voted, and they all passed. So obviously, if people are that concerned or not, then they should have said something, you know what I mean? Like, it should have shown in the voting, you know what I mean? Like, it may be unfortunate, but we're in this stance of it passed. People said yes.
I
You
feel
know,
like
to where
it's
it's like,
robbing from Peter to pay Paul. And that never works out well.
And that is,
me.
and that is why Judy is resistant. That's why there's a resistance to this. Okay, because it sort of sounds like that. If you use it now, you can't use it later. Well, one of the rules of finance is money sooner is better than money later.
well, yeah, it's a risk.
Okay, so I'm looking at my perspective is the immediacy on the impact on the lowest income people in town. If you're above average person, then none of this happens at all. Okay, and if Michaela is correct, the votes, these were not close votes, 3-something to 2-something. That's not a close vote. Okay, so there was a solid yes vote. Okay, but I think one of the issues is I think a lot of people had no idea that in some cases they were facing the double-digit percentage tax increase. And even this, with using my other sheet, yeah, here it is. Even this, even the 360, the average tax increase is 7.1%. Okay, and people are gonna notice this when they get their updated mortgage bill or when they get their tax bill. They're gonna notice where they haven't noticed already.
I mean, you can only,
But Bill, the problem is I understand this, and I've been, you've heard me with
Yeah.
this whole budget that people are going to be hurting. But the problem is if we do it the way you're asking now, after the fact,
yeah.
you know, next year it's going to hurt them even more. So, had we talked about this and perhaps, did some things that we could have done prior to, like, if you have less students, you can actually go flat on the school. We could have done some maneuvering before, but now you're trying to, say that we can use this money. Yeah, it's there, and I would love to, but what I'm afraid of is that next year we're going to pay dearly. And as it is, with this budget that we just passed, it's going to increase again anyway, because you'll have more benefits, more pay raises. It goes every year. At some
Yeah.
point, there has to be cuts at some point. And I've been saying that for a while now. And now we're in this predicament. And I'm just uncomfortable. I agree with Kayla that, now we're talking about the bond credit. If we go too low, there's a lot of things that this affects taking that much without doing cuts. And it's too late. And I feel bad that people didn't come out and support. I mean, we had limited support. And I know they can't afford it, and it breaks my heart. And I can't fight it anymore, you know?
Okay, with that, let's do a vote. So all in favor of Bill's proposal of using the 360K for undesignated funds?
All right,
Any opposed? Aye,
I
and Rob will abstain. Okay. So with that, it does not.
that's okay.
But I mean, it's something at least we know and we can look forward in the future, like Judy said, not literally the last second. Maybe we could look at it like once the audit comes through, once we have, the year-end balances, then we can try
And
and.
my spot is became an alternate at the last second.
Tell me about it.
You became,
Tell me about it.
you became chair at the second to last second.
Yeah, exactly, so. Awesome. All right, so, let me just make sure we're still on track, so discussion. I guess we'll just move to the next one, so discussion and possible action to set the mill rate for 26, 27. So, I'm gonna get rid of this. I'm sharing the mill rate calculator.
What do we get?
Okay, so this is what I have. So, let me just verify before I start saying these stuff.
I'm guessing it'll be about 27.8. Not really screw.
I'm trying to make sure that I have all the numbers correct. I have a list. All right, so what I did was I took the state revenue, town revenue. So this is what we currently have in the calculation that was in the packet for the mill rate. So it was 3,771.29. So then with this increase now, so it's going to be increased state revenue of 163. So that increases our grants and fees, kind of our income now. So we were at we were at 4470. This is what we were at. This is where we are now. Now we're at 4.6 million. So with that, it looks as though the new mill rate is going to be 27.79.
No, you allowed to make it just 27.8.
I think it doesn't have to be like two decimals.
I enjoyed
I
it.
think. Let's just stick with 2 decimals.
That church is just 27.8.
Okay, so this is what it was. So we were at 11%. Average was $676 increase. Now we're at $596. So what I did, and I can do it now, just so that way we can look and have a little bit more perspective. It's going to be, this is the spreadsheet that I had to use the analysis of the properties. So people's actual increases. So what I did was I updated the mill rate. So this was the old mill rate where we were. So this is our new mill rate. Double checking. Okay, so this one. Where are we at? 27. And we will probably not get into this now, but at least we'll get the changes, the total on base. So obviously, you know, it's gonna be $142,000 decrease. See if this works. So an average of $88. But as you can see already with some properties, I mean, we just scroll through it already. You know, this person, $150, $175, you know, 200, because the reval is so different. You can't really even take an average. So this person, $315. Well, those are actually going to go down. Or no, they're gonna go up. So I mean, it's a pretty good chunk of at least a lot of people are gonna be $100, $120. So I mean, with this and adjusting the mill rate accordingly with the increase in revenue, I mean, we are gonna save some people some money than what it was before. Because what we were looking at before was a lot higher.
So we end up with 27.8. If it's 27.796. And you're supposed, if you're supposed to go to 2 decimals, you have 27.8.
I'm double checking this, so.
I don't know what they're requiring. For you, that's it.
This is what it is with the current mill rate.
I don't know what it's 36.
28.15. So this is what, well, this is what was in the packet,
Oh, yeah.
28.15. So they were looking to have their tax bills be, so we'll just go with the first one, it would be $13.89. So now with the new mill rate, it's gonna be $13.71, so this person's taxes are gonna go down by $17. So that's what it is. Apologies. I gotta like relearn all these things from looking at it. So this change is what is actually gonna go down from the current mill rate that we have, which is the 28, to what we are gonna change with the new funding, with the revenue. So it's going to actually go down. And so we'll be saving, people will be saving this money with the impact of the increase in the revenue. Yes. So I'm saying it correctly first.
Yes.
So here, let's look at like some percentages. So like, because majority of people are like in the 10% range. So, because these are the highest increases, they're still good. They're gonna save about $100.
Which number is my house?
Yeah, which one?
Where's my house?
Where am I?
I wanna know what I'm gonna be paying.
Well, there you go. I can add it in if you want. You know? So I mean, yeah, I mean, it's a huge impact, and we are saving, you know, we are having people save a little bit of money on the back end now. So, and that's something that we want to adopt. Because then if you also think about it too, then that affects your motor vehicles as well. So those are gonna go down, which they're already gonna go down, from 32 to then 27. So the change in the mill.
You know, the average tax increase would be about 10%. And before the additional money, the average tax increase was about 11%. So round off about a percent on the animal. Then round up. Yeah, extra money from the government.
Yeah, So it'll decrease our mill rate by 0.35. 353.
So what's our official?
So then the official ending mill rate is gonna be 27.796.
You can make it leave. 27.
0.8.
You want a motion for that?
Well, first I wanna figure out what we do after this. So obviously we're changing, because now we're changing what's expected, right? So after we do this motion, do we communicate this to Catherine or so it's the tax collector and the board of selectmen, they have to do
Oh, yeah, they
anything
should
with all
know.
this? Yeah, hey, we just changed this.
No, they have nothing to do with it.
Well, I just wanna make sure that we do proper channels.
Oh,
too.
that's what I mean. Board of Finance makes the decision, period.
Well, because it's not like we suggest it to the selectmen
No,
for them to do
no,
all
it's-
that, okay.
No, and the actual legal situation is the selectmen suggest to the Board of Finance and the Board of Finance votes.
To do it, okay,
That's the law.
okay.
Some people get that backwards, confused, so. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so. Do we wanna do it 27.8?
yeah,
We wanna round up the 4,000s of the decimal?
yes, that's false precision. Remember from your back and forth.
Nope, I don't remember
That bill, right?
it. Okay, so then let's get a motion going for this mill rate.
I'll move 27.8 mill rate.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, pass unanimously. So at least that's good. I mean, I'm glad we clarified the amount that we're gonna get, and then it's something, something to somebody. $200 is definitely good. So, all right, from there, so I put this on the agenda, the discussion of the 24-25 annual report, just because it was on last year, and it seems to be that's kind of the next step. And I wanted to get someone's opinion and reference as to what has to be done with it and who, what, where, when, if we know what to do.
I think the board has to hire an auditor. You know that,
Really?
well, the books, that's how you get the annual report, and that's the audit. So there's a
Well,
process.
we have the audited financials because it's from last year, so we
Right.
have it from January, yeah.
So there's a fiscal year that ends, this July. Okay,
Yeah.
now the annual report for ending last year should be done by total, because that
Because-
ended last July 25 is,
Because when.
I mean, June first, it ends in June, it starts in July 1st, the fiscal year starts. So
Didn't
the
they come
annual
in and
report
present it?
for 24-25 should be done by.
Because I thought the annual report, when Christina did it, it was like this big write-up to where she had like, we had the dedication page. She had somebody that was like
Right.
summarizing it and it was a big like,
auditor came in or was on Zoom and presented it.
no,
Was it?
I didn't think it was the financials. I thought it was like a written like paragraph of like what was going on. I didn't think it was
No,
financials.
Was that a whole book?
No, the annual report, includes the audited financials now 25 should be already put to bed. The June
All right, I'll
25.
have to figure
I
that
think.
out.
It should be. So your agenda item is actually addressing the annual report for what's ending June of this year. Okay, and I don't know, if auditors are, I think auditors, I mean, I haven't done
I
this.
see last year, local Ashford resident agreed to edit the 23-24 annual report.
Yeah, like it's a year, and that's why I'm like, I think it's
Oh.
like an actual book, like that
Yeah.
you wrote.
You get.
It's not an audit, yeah, or maybe
Oh.
it is in there, but some pages, so, all right, I mean,
Oh,
I just wanted to throw it out there just to see
And then,
what I.
and I'm totally confused. with
Yeah.
annual.
I
I'll
could
have
have
to
dug
read.
it out and brought it if
Looks like
I
Sharon
printed
has
this and just
Yes,
came
sir.
here.
I'll have to.
I'll look for it,
Ask for
Kayla,
sure,
when I
okay,
get home.
But
It should be in the packet.
But I have a feeling that the annual report includes the write-up because somebody edited it.
yeah,
And usually, like I submitted an article, like you remember Peter Marvel, I actually did his biography in the annual report years ago. So I think the annual report includes the write-up and the auditors report.
maybe that's
But,
what it is.
you know, I was like out of date from the early nineties. So, so the Board of Finance hires the auditor.
Yeah, we have that.
Wait,
So-
is Judy's, ask Judy, she should remember.
Judy, you there?
Yep, what's that?
Didn't we get the audit for 24-25 from the auditor? Didn't he come in and present that to us and we got the booklets?
Yeah, they always do. Or they,
Yeah,
yeah.
I thought we
This
had.
this year I didn't. This year I did not get the booklet. But it was the only year since I've been on, and at least 9 years now that I never got the booklet this year.
Well, you don't mean for 2026 because we're not done yet, but for
No,
24-25, you must have gotten it. You didn't? I'm sure I have it at home.
the last one I did not get.
Okay, I'm gonna go home and check, see if I got
Looks like
that one.
last year the annual report was.
Because we had to do the dedication and
Yeah, that's why
everything.
I was like, I don't.
Yeah,
Yeah, so they normally did give it to us. And
Yeah.
maybe I didn't get it because I wasn't there. I don't
maybe
know.
you were on Zoom and you didn't get it.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe I didn't get it because I wasn't there, but that was the only one out of all those years I didn't receive one.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
Okay, I will look at that. I'm just looking at. Okay. We'll stay tuned. So agenda items for the next meeting. I don't really have anything else. I mean, I'm just gonna say, I guess it can go in with remarks for the good of the board. This summer period, obviously, I'll probably need a little bit more assistance with at least like keeping up with some of the usual things that have to go on. I'm gonna follow the agendas that have like last year or whatnot and try and, get our way through. But, if there's, Judy or Pam or even Bill, like if you have anything, or at least like if you know of something that's coming up, like, please let me know, because I don't really know.
Of course, of course.
I'm figuring it out. The budget part's easy. Now it's like all the other interim things are gonna be what adds up, like this annual report, or like, these different, what is it, a legal notice, the steep grants, like all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, I don't foresee anything like that we would need to talk about, at least like for the end of this month. So it could possibly be canceled just because I'm not sure. But yeah, I'll send out emails too, and like That way, everybody's in agreement. If that's okay.
We can look back at the agendas and everything and, you know, the minutes and notes and stuff.
Yeah,
Just get all that together.
And I think something that you remarked at the last meeting, a fuzzy area for a lot of people is this fund balance, the relationship with fund balances, the undesignated fund balance. You mentioned looking at previous history that maybe identify some of the variances that occur and why. And another issue that's sort of brand new, maybe this board is I think we want to look really hard at the Department of Public Works and get input from the supervisor. Because we used to resurface 7 miles a year, and now my understanding is down to around 3. And when I first got on the Board of Finance, I was given 2 or 3 VCR tapes on road maintenance. And let me assure you, you do shortcuts on road maintenance, and you get a washout. It costs more money than a brand new road. So I think it's really critical we look at the Department of Public Works, find out from the department head, what do we need to ramp up on the care of our roads? Because if something goes wrong, we have to pay for it. The maintenance is a lot cheaper than fixing a washout. And that's what these VCR tapes are all about. Culvert maintenance, catch basin maintenance, location and stuff. Blah, blah, blah.
well, you know,
Water,
Bicknell Road. Did you
yeah,
go to Bicknell Road? Did they have to redo it all last year?
yeah. And
Because it was all
I live right
washed
around the.
I know, they did it from
This
my
is-
driveway.
this is-
It was like, that was a hot mess. You know,
Where
and,
do
you
where
know,
do you live?
I'm not saying that, it's still recorded.
Okay, this, no, pardon me, I'm not.
It
But
was
yeah,
a river
yeah.
of water, trust me.
It was
man.
bad,
It
but,
was a river of water. Well, I just went down Bevington Lane here. All right, the dirt road,
Yeah,
and where they graded through. You have the harrow rows on the right, the water can't wash out. All the gravel they put down and you grade, they had to hump it, the water has no place to go, except the.
well, it's
But-
definitely,
that road is usually well maintained.
Yeah, it's well traveled.
but yeah, I mean, that's a good point. And then that's stuff that we can do during the summer too, where it is kind of low, or like if it's usually a meeting that's canceled, or, you know, it's like we can discuss these things and we can go through, we even ask, you know, like Sherry to come in and talk about the different funds, and, you know, just that's kind of like the lull period of us to actually like, understand going into next year, you know. So then we can try and use more undesignated funds, we can understand the grants, we can try and figure out the process. I mean, the other thing too could be like, I don't know, obviously it seems like this budget calendar is pretty set in stone, but some towns, they didn't pass anything, you know, or they didn't go into referendum. What would that have been, you know, if somehow the dates got mixed up and we weren't able to add this 163,000, you know, to where that could be something of like, well, what if we delay it? Well, can we
We
change our
should-
calendar? Can, you know, like, what's the rules behind it? I don't know, so,
We
things
should
like
look
that.
at the, and that's something, so too.
yeah.
We look at the, because I don't know, historically, that the Board of Finance has done is heard from all the department heads that were interested in giving a presentation, or the Board of Finance asked them to. You get the department heads' recommendations and their testimony before the finance, then you get the Board of Selectmen's recommendation, and the Board of Finance sorts it out. Because the Board of Finance and Board of Selectmen may or may not be in agreement.
Yeah,
That is not historically, this budget cycle seem to be pretty smooth, but there could definitely be differences of opinion between Board of Finance and Board of Select. And the Board of Finance is the sole and final board.
Exactly, so, more food for thought, there is another meeting for next week, 14th. On our calendar, like I said, most likely probably gonna be canceled, if we have anything, it's a regular meeting. We have one the 14th and then the 28th as well. 14th and then 28th.
So were you saying next week's might be canceled?
I mean, unless you think there's something that we need to do.
Wanted to go to dinner with my brother.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, unless, I'll double check, you know, I'll, obviously I'm gonna communicate the mill rate, get feedback or whatnot. If there's anything that we have to do on top of it, then we'll do a meeting. If not, I'll be canceled.
Okay,
Fair enough.
So the 14th is off,
maybe.
maybe,
10 to 2.
We're basically done with the budget.
14th.
Yeah, so, I don't
You'll
know.
let us know, we'll put it on.
I mean, we are done.
That's
Yeah, this is it. Don't go back now. I'm done.
That's pretty heavy money.
Okay, well,
So I can adjust.
with that, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Exhausted.
Alright. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, alright. Ends at 8:20. Thank you. Thanks, Judy, for coming on.
Night, guys.
Have a good night.
Good night.
I'll be in touch.
Oh, wait.
about